You ever think about how this is the only Mario game where we see someone in a higher position for the kingdom than Princess Peach? Early installment weirdness. Hindsight is wacky. Super Mario Bros. Came out in 1985, and arguably secured video games as a mainstream medium after the 1983 crash soiled their reputation. But for a while, it was just Super Mario Bros. We had one of Satan's favorite platformers as a sequel less than a year after the first, but we forced Japan to keep it until 1993. In the meantime, we would get a reskin of Doki Doki Panic presented as Super Mario Bros. 2, and exactly 2 weeks later, Japan would see the release of Super Mario Bros. 3. This game would be critically acclaimed and go on to become one of the most renowned games in both the Mario series and the NES as a whole. Yet we wouldn't get it for over a year. Kind of. The Japanese release was in October of 1988, and us burger biters would get the game in February of 1990. However, if your local arcade got a Play Choice 10, you could preview the game with some quarters to spare. Apparently the reason for the long delay was because of ROM shortages. Japan's version of the NES was actually pretty different in hardware, more so than you may think initially. I also learned that the game was actually overhead early in development. What's that? Why am I focusing so much on development? It's Super Mario Bros. 3, what do you want from me? If Super Mario Bros. Was the game to put Mario on the map, Super Mario Bros. 3 was the game to make sure he stayed on. 37 years and counting later, it's still praised to this day as one of the best entries in the franchise. And it's the first game to actually expand upon the original formula instead of simply rehashing or doing something different, paving the way for the modern 2D Mario game alongside its follow-up, Super Mario World. But how much expanding did it really do? Well, for one, a world map. We have maps to go from level to level, interact with Toad Houses for items, bonus games for more items or lives, the occasional Hammer Bro fight, joyous, and special bonuses that you aren't likely to see. There are items even dedicated to the overworld. You'll usually get them from a Hammer Bro fight or Peach after finishing a world. They consist of a hammer to break rocks for secrets, a cloud to skip a level, or a music box to disable Hammer Bros. White Toad Houses appear if you complete certain levels with all their coins, and they carry either a P-Wing, more on that later, or an anchor, which stops airships from moving if you die on them. And the award for most pointless item in the game goes to this piece of paper because there's nothing on it. While flying airships can be inconvenient, they're not annoying enough to justify an item for them. It's not like they impact the level directly. Treasure ships, coin-filled airship levels spawning from wandering Hammer Bros, only show up if you are in Worlds 1, 3, 5, or 6, have a Hammer Bro present, end the level with an even number on your timer, have a coin count with a multiple of 11, have the 10th digit of your score be the same multiple, beat the game in under an hour, reach 1 million subscribers while in college full-time, hack the president's nuclear launch codes, leak your partner's nudes to their first ex, and prove to me that no one made George Orwell jokes in the year of 1984. And then getting the treasure ship to appear is insanely convoluted, and the footage you're watching is the 3rd time I've ever triggered it. The item you would have gotten from the Hammer Bro is also present from defeating the one Boomerang Bro on the ship, and with the 7,000 ways to build up extra lives with ease, I don't really see the need for the treasure ship. The most powerful overworld item, and the most cryptic, is the Recorder. Ripped straight from Mario's overhead cousin, it whisks you to the Warp Zone, and using 2 in a row brings you to the last world. Great for speedrunning, especially since the worlds now get bigger the further you go, making Super Mario Bros. 3 noticeably longer than the first, second, and second game. However, I don't recommend using the quick recorder skip. For one, you have to know to crouch on this white platform in 1-3 long enough to enter the background and behind the goal curtain. Another has you fly to the ceiling of the first castle and entering a secret door. Fun fact, the game counts this as beating the level. And the last one makes you use a hammer on an unassuming rock to reveal a secret part of World 2. Second, you can't backtrack for power-ups. Once a level's cleared, you can't play it again. Meaning if you're short on power-ups, you'll be stuck that way unless you gain one in the next level, pick one up from a Toad House, or happen to get the card-matching bonus game. There's another bonus game too.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it! I can't stop winning!
Speaking of power-ups, we got a lot more of them too. If you get one from the overworld, you can activate it for a level and go straight in with it. we have the Mushroom and Fire Flower back, and good Waluigi, a second power-up gives you a second extra hit. Trust me, beginning my game career during the new era makes playing the older games even tougher, so I'm glad we're out of the two-hit woods. Almost. Now, if only collecting a higher level power-up as Small Mario didn't just function like a mushroom. The star also returns, where Mario can screw attack anyone he runs into. Side note, what's with the color change for Mario? Why is he all orange with a fire flower? It only happens in this game and never again, not even in All-Stars. Well, regardless, this isn't nearly where it ends. One new feature of Mario is being able to hold onto shells by running into them. By kicking the shell into this block here, you can find the first Super Leaf, giving you Raccoon Mario. You can slow your descent by mashing the A button, fly for a bit at full speed, and attack with a tail swipe by pressing B. Two of these features are worse here than in later games, but being able to fly is helpful 99% of the time in any platformer. The Super Leaf has a few variants too. The Tanuki suit, which gives Mario an invincible statue mode, and the P-Wing, which keeps your P-meter capped, allowing you to fly infinitely. He takes to the sky in order to find a place to piss. I recommend you save these for later worlds. You'll get a fair number of them, but they're single use and turn into regular leaves after, meaning they're ideal as a last resort. Mario's got a slightly longer acceleration cycle than in the previous games, and it's marked with this P meter here. I pray the P stands for something else. When it reaches its max, Mario's running speed and jumping ability are at their highest. Much like one would when they're looking for a bathroom. The Tanuki suit had a resurgence in popularity thanks to 3D Land, but the other suits have yet to return. Is this a problem? No. Yes. The frog suit allows you to swim better, but its land mobility is complete shit. It's the only situational power-up, and the penguin suit does the concept better. The Hammer Bros suit, on the other hand, is one where I understand the frustration of only being in this game. Ducking makes you immune to fireballs, you can destroy any enemy with your hammers, any enemy, and you just look cool. If we exclude the get-out-of-jail-free P-Wings, I'd call the Hammer Bros suit the best power-up in the game. It's just painfully rare and you won't see it before World 6. Trust me. Man, I'm on fire with segues today. While Super Mario Bros. 2 was the one to introduce consistent world themes, Super Mario Bros. 3 really drove it home. 8 worlds, a basic theme for each that influences the levels. Grassland is ye old starting world. The levels are pretty short, not at all challenging, and building extra lives for the journey ahead is a breeze. Every level type except for water is here too. All your favorite kinds of levels return from the first game, but fortresses are now in the middle of the world. A higher hurdle to jump over, if you will. Until you reach the mini-boss. Boom Boom is the definition of basic. Plunk, plunk, dead, moving on. However, when you reach the castle, you'll find that it's not the last level. In this game, Mario's trying to restore the kings of the different worlds as Bowser and his hired mercenaries, the Koopalings, have transformed them for conquest's sake. No, the Koopalings aren't his kids. Imagine the child support payments. We enter the airship to defeat the Koopaling, and airships... oh boy. I'll talk more about them when we get to World 8, but for now, auto-scrolling. Fun fact, 1-4 is also an auto-scroller and I couldn't pass it as a kid. The Koopalings also have basic fights. They'll attack with their wands, jump, and high jump in their shells when hit. All in all, we have this game to blame for the basic-ass boss structure. For all of my problems with Super Mario Bros. 2, I think it had the better roster of bosses, even if I really like some of the Koopalings like Larry here. Fun fact number 2. The original version of this game had very basic animals that the kings were turned into, while the All-Stars port uses existing sprites like a Cobrat, a Hoopster, yes, that's its name, a Yoshi, and even a Donkey Kong Jr. Those last two aren't bad, they can actually defend themselves. Who chose to turn the kings into them? You know, that checks out. World 2, Desert Hill, is a bit more puzzle-oriented, and it introduces levels not marked by a number, like a pyramid or...
You can't stay here! The sun! The sun!
There are so many enemies in this game. All your favorites from the first are back, and while Hammer Bros can still be annoying, you won't find them in many levels. However, we now have tons of variations. We have Paragoombas that either jump or fly and shoot babies out that slow you down. Some bloopers, bloobers, do that too. Some piranha plants learned how to rap and spit fire. Speaking of fire, Fire Bros, Boomerang Bros, and even Sledge Bros can irritate you, along with these block tossers. Chain Chomps will occasionally show up to remind me of why I don't have any pets. Willingly. Boos are there to act like introverted stalkers, Thwomps make pancakes, Fishy Boopkins makes his first appearance.
Hey Mario! What are you... My scrotums!
There are tons of enemies. I still haven't finished listing them. At the end of the airship here, you'll face Morton Jr. I have only heard of some of these musicians. The music in this game? It's okay. The athletic theme has grown on me thanks to better remixes, the underwater theme is solid, and the final boss got some AAA treatment in Mario RPG, but the rest is just kinda there to me. Seaside is somehow both a difficulty spike and the biggest source of lives. Boom Boom can have wings now. Plonk Plonk dead, moving on. There are underwater levels, levels with changing tides and Big Berthas that need to die, a fortress with a door maze, and an airship I died on a few times. Yet it also has an easy one-up trick. One-up tricks are a constant in Mario games, but I never bothered to try them, either because I didn't feel I needed it, or it didn't matter. Here, all you gotta do is pick up the shell, toss it past this low-aiming cannon, and let it bounce between the two. One time over later, I have 99 lives. However, I still call Seaside a difficulty spike because of the other levels. Even Wendy is a little tougher than the previous two thanks to her Gemini laser candy rings. Doesn't help that Big Island, the next world, is easier and has less levels. Everything's big here, and while this gives Hammer Bros a bigger reach, it also makes everything easier to jump on. Iggy, aside from jumping higher, is still as basic as the first two. The next world is half land, half sky. 5-3 is the only level to feature Karibo's shoe, a one-time item that lets you stand on places you couldn't before. That's nice, but even the frog suit sees more use. It isn't until Super Mario Maker where its potential is fully realized. The Boom Boom Arena can change. Plonk Plonk dead, moving on. The levels in the sky are dead set on platforming. If you don't like bottomless pits, I hope you grabbed a recorder earlier. Roy is your target here, and aside from shaking the ground, he's no different from the rest. Iced Land. Yes, Iced Land, not Iceland. Brings back my favorite theme from World 4 of the last game, Ice Physics! Fortunately, power-ups are here to make things easier. You actually need one for 6-5 here. You have to take this Koopa shell and fly up to reach the exit pipe. The first time I played this level, I had to look up how to get through. It's not obvious going in. What is obvious, on the other hand, is that my favorite Koopaling's here. Lemmy is just a little guy on the ball. He tosses out bouncy balls that won't hurt you if you don't touch the bottoms of them. Even before he became certified adorable, Lemmy was the most unique of the Koopalings. Continuing the trend of unique things, Pipe Maze. A pipe will put your mind in a maze. The levels in Pipe Maze are of the tricky kind. The fortress requires you to have a leaf to fly up and reach this pipe. A couple of levels have Pac-Man scrolling, including the first level that has multiple paths to get through. Others have you jump across short sections with invincible plants. This one is just Flappy Bird 25 years too early. Ludwig, the last and strongest Koopaling. It's just Roy again. With ZZ Top's Viking cousin returned to normal, Bowser decided to cut off our P-Wing supply and it's Super Mario Bros. All over again. We enter Darkland, home of Castle Koopa. You can tell the game shredded the last of your safety net when the row of hands that grab you without consent are the easiest levels to deal with. Right off the bat, you have a tank level that auto-scrolls. After that, a ship level that auto-scrolls. After the non-consensual hands, a ship that auto-scrolls fast. 2 tough regular levels, a misleading maze-like fortress, another auto-scroller. There are too many auto-scrollers in this game. At least one in every world, and these aren't easy ones. I wouldn't call Super Mario Bros. 3 a super tough game, but if you haven't kept your inventory stacked up to this point, World 8 will be a slog. The hands that don't ask? That's your auxiliary support, not a single Toad House in sight. Eventually, after dying half a dozen times to the last tank, we'll reach the castle. You have fast lasers that require you to jump at full speed, an invisible lift that's so well hidden I thought at one point that you needed a leaf to even beat the game, donut blocks. Like 8-4 in the first game and the previous Fortress, the final level is more about knowing where to go rather than getting through what's there. At the end is Bowser. He'll spit fire, then try to make breakfast with your corpse. It's a more unique fight than the Koopalings and more involved than the first game. Doesn't mean it's good. You're just boredly trying to lure Bowser into breaking the floor beneath him. Or if you have the Hammer Bros suit, a couple hits and he's toast. Soon enough, Bowser will die, and Peach is saved once again. God forbid you fall through Bowser's hole.
You just got pranked! Ha! Pranked!
And that's Super Mario Bros. 3, a beloved classic of the NES library, Mario's 2D magnum opus. It's still not my favorite. The best of the NES for sure, the game's a blast. Mario controls better, the level design is vastly improved, mostly, the items are varied, and it set the stage for the modern formula. But it's not free of problems. First, Mario's momentum is over the top when your P-meter is maxed, and I find myself dying sometimes as a result. Second, the difficulty, while balanced, is not a steady slope. World 3 is much harder than World 4, and World 7 is easier than World 6 once you're past the maze element. Finally, too many auto-scrollers. And while the levels aren't too long, there still should have been checkpoints, or at least the ability to replay levels. That inventory dwindles fast for inexperienced players. I would know. However, this is mostly small potatoes. While I can't call Super Mario Bros. 3 my favorite, I can admire the strides it took to improve upon the first game. Sometimes I ask myself, why is it that Super Mario Bros. 3 gets praised to the heavens while the new Super Mario Bros. Games are largely ignored? It may be due to nostalgia, maybe because Super Mario Bros. 3 expands upon what came before it while the new series stagnates, it may be because of level design. One thing's for sure, you come to previous games either to see how things started, for masochism, or for something completely different. You come to Super Mario Bros. 3 for a good time, and I'll be coming back to this anytime I have 4 hours to spare. Now how do I segue into the battle mode, which is just a slightly more developed version of the Mario Bros. Arcade game and is also played in the multiplayer if one player steps on another's finished level to possibly steal their turn? I know. I don't.